This incredible Ankita Ridge Chardonnay has a crispness about it that I love with this chowder that I'm going to make. This is a wonderful corn and crab chowder. So the crab, the corn, the creaminess goes beautifully with this wonderful Chardonnay, and I hope you'll like it. So what I'm going to do is put some bacon into a pan to just start rendering that fat. Now usually for this recipe I use 6 very thick slices of bacon. I just happen to have a standard slice of bacon, so I used about 10 for this. Now while that bacon renders, I want to chop up some aromatics, and I love to use all of that standard mirepoix, white mirepoix. We're gonna use some celery, we're gonna use some onion on this, and some green pepper, as well as some red pepper and some jalapeno. So while we're not using standard carrots for a regular French mirepoix, this has an amazing flavor with the triune. So what I want to do is chop up about half of a large onion or about a medium onion. What you're looking for is between, half cup and 3/4 cup onion. And once you find a recipe that you love, start to adjust those flavorings so that you make them the way that you want them. So I'm looking for kind of a medium dice. I'm not looking for anything large, and definitely not minced. I want a little bit of texture in this. Now anytime you have to cut a pepper, don't feel like you have to go in and take out that core. Peppers are really easy to core, just like this. Just come around the ribs, cut that right out, and then you don't lose any of that wonderful pepper. You don't get a ton of seeds, and you can really clean it right up. Then just trim out those little bit of ribs that exist and are left over and chop it up. I want about a half pepper for this recipe. So I'm just gonna chop 2 of these pieces, and I'm gonna put those in with my red bell. Now the recipe I post will call for 2 ribs of celery, but sometimes when you just have that center left, use all of that great flavor. Use the stems, all of the leaves, so those top stems, just makes it even more delicious. Now we want to bring the bacon to a nice crisp, and then we'll be ready to add all of our delicious vegetables. All right, our bacon is ready to accept these vegetables. You can see all of that fat has rendered, and that beautiful fond is on the bottom of the pan. So let's pitch these in. Now they're starting to soften. Oh, they smell so amazing. And before we add any liquid, we're gonna go in with our thickener, a little bit of flour. Now I'm putting the flour right on top of the vegetables, just sprinkle it over, and then stir it through really, really well. You wanna make sure that all of that flour cooks well through the fat. You don't wanna see any residual white lingering on your vegetables. Now let's slowly add a quart of warm chicken stock. And then about 10 ounces of your favorite frozen corn. And I like to use a yellow and white. Now I'll let that simmer for about 15 minutes. This looks great. The vegetables are all cooked through, and the soup has become nice and thick. At this point, I'm going to add a little bit of cream to that, about a cup. And I want to add a pound of crab. Now let's season it up with a little bit of an Old Bay seasoning, about 1/2 to 3/4 of a teaspoon. And a little salt. I'm going to simmer this until that crab is warmed through, and so is the cream, and then we're going to plate it up. This looks amazing. There is nothing like a nice chowder, especially on a cool day. Now this one is not particularly thick. It's just a very rich chowder. Some chowders are really thick, but for this one, I like that it's a little thinner and the body really comes from the vegetables and the crab. Now let's finish this off with just a little bit of freshly minced parsley, corn and crab chowder, and this wonderful Chardonnay. It's such a great blend. This one has a wonderful acidity that really cuts that cream and adds to the body of the crab. It's fantastic, and I hope you'll enjoy it.